While you've been playing nice, everyone else learned the real rules of success. The promotion, the respect, the relationships you wanted. They all went to people who understood what you're about to discover. If you're tired of watching less deserving people get ahead while your kindness keeps you invisible, this changes everything. The brutal truth about power that successful people don't want you to know starts now. The kind are forgotten. The strong are remembered. Your niceness has been your prison, and it's time for a jailbreak. The illusion of virtue. You wake up every morning believing the world operates on fairness. You hold doors, say please and thank you, help colleagues without asking for credit, and smile when you'd rather scream. You've been conditioned to believe that virtue is its own reward, that kindness creates karma, that good things come to good people. But look around you. Really look. The promotion you deserved went to someone who spoke louder in meetings, not better. The relationship you invested years in ended when someone more assertive caught their attention. The opportunities you politely waited for were seized by those who simply took them without asking permission. Niccolo Machiavelli understood something 5 centuries ago that you're just beginning to realize. The world doesn't reward virtue. It rewards strength. In The Prince, he wrote that effective leaders must learn to be both the fox and the lion. The fox to recognize traps, the lion to frighten wolves. But you've been playing the role of the sheep. Your kindness isn't moral superiority, it's strategic weakness. Every time you choose to be the bigger person, you're actually choosing to be the smaller one. You're training the world to see you as someone who can be walked over, ignored, and taken for granted. Your niceness has become a signal that you don't value yourself enough to demand respect. Think about your workplace dynamics. Who gets listened to? In meetings? Not the person with the best ideas, the person who commands attention, who gets the resources they need. Not who deserves them most, but who negotiates most effectively, who advances fastest. Not the hardest worker, but the most strategically positioned player. You've been playing checkers, while everyone else learned chess. You've been following rules that don't exist, honoring agreements others never made, and expecting reciprocity from people who see your kindness as invitation to exploit. The painful truth: your virtue has made you invisible. While you were being considerate, others were being conspicuous. While you were being humble, others were being heard. While you were being nice, others were being necessary. But here's what's about to change everything you thought you knew about human nature. Power isn't given to the deserving. It's taken by the determined. You're about to learn why fear commands more respect than love ever could. The psychology of dominance. Machiavelli's most controversial insight cuts straight to the heart of human psychology. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. This isn't cruelty. It's understanding reality. Love is conditional and fickle. People love you when it serves them, when you make them feel good, when you're useful to their emotional needs. But fear is immediate and lasting. Fear creates boundaries. Fear demands acknowledgement. You've witnessed this your entire life without recognizing it. Remember your strictest teacher? You might not have liked them, but you respected them. You showed up on time, completed assignments, paid attention. Why? Because there were consequences for not doing so. Now remember your cool teacher, who tried to be everyone's friend. Half the class walked all over them. This same dynamic plays out in every arena of your life. The boss, who's always accommodating, gets less effort from their team than the one who sets clear expectations and enforces them. The parent who never says no raises children who respect no boundaries. The friend who always gives in eventually gets taken advantage of. Your brain is wired to test boundaries. It's evolutionary psychology. Humans naturally push until they find resistance. Without that resistance, without consequences, without the healthy fear of overstepping, relationships become unbalanced, and respect erodes. Think about the people you truly respect in your life. Not people you like, people you respect. There's probably an element of healthy intimidation there. They have standards. They enforce boundaries. They don't tolerate disrespect. They've created a psychological framework where crossing them has costs. But you've been so afraid of being disliked that you've become unrespectable. You've confused being agreeable with being valuable. You've mistaken accommodation for kindness and enablement for love. The strongest people in your life aren't cruel. They're clear. They don't rule through terror. They rule through certainty. Others know exactly where they stand, what's expected, and what happens when lines are crossed. This creates psychological safety, not through permissiveness, but through predictability. Your kindness without backbone isn't kindness, it's chaos. When you have no boundaries, others have to guess where the limits are. When you never enforce consequences, people have to test constantly to understand the rules. Your niceness actually creates anxiety in relationships because nobody knows what you actually stand for. Real strength isn't about intimidation. It's about integrity. It's about saying what you mean and meaning what you say. It's about being someone whose word matters because it's backed by action. But understanding this psychology is only the beginning. Now you need to learn how power actually works. The meek don't inherit the earth. They maintain it for those who take charge. Your reputation is currency, and you've been giving it away for free. The currency of reputation. Machiavelli knew that reputation is everything. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. While you've been focused on being genuinely good, others have been strategically appearing powerful. And in the marketplace of human perception, appearance is reality. Your reputation precedes you into every room, every relationship, every opportunity. It determines how people speak to you, what they offer you, what they expect from you. And right now, your reputation is that of someone who can be safely ignored, easily convinced, and readily exploited. This isn't because you're weak. It's because you've advertised weakness. Every time you apologize unnecessarily, you signal insecurity. Every time you immediately agree to avoid conflict, you signal that your opinion doesn't matter even to you. Every time you do extra work without being asked or acknowledged, you signal that your time has no value. People treat you exactly how you've trained them to treat you. And you've been running a masterclass in how to be overlooked. Think about the last time you were in a group making plans. Did they ask your opinion first, or did they tell you what was already decided? When there's disagreement, do people look to you for the deciding voice, or do they debate around you? When resources are limited, are you first in line or fighting for scraps? Your answers reveal your reputation's true value in the social economy. And if you're honest, that value has been depreciating for years. But here's what's fascinating about reputation. It can be rebuilt faster than you think, but only if you understand the mechanics. Reputation isn't built through single dramatic gestures. It's built through consistent pattern recognition. People need to see new evidence repeatedly before they update their mental models of who you are. The person who always says yes, suddenly saying no, gets attention. The accommodating team member who starts making non-negotiable demands gets heard differently. The friend who stops being available whenever called begins to seem more valuable when they are available. But this isn't about manipulation. It's about accurate representation. You've been misrepresenting your actual value through your behavior. You've been discount pricing yourself in a premium market. You've been apologizing for taking up space instead of commanding the room you rightfully occupy. Machiavelli understood that perception shapes reality more than reality shapes perception. If people perceive you as powerful, you become powerful. If they perceive you as pushover, that becomes your function in their lives. Your reputation is your brand, and your brand has been harmless and agreeable. But brands can be rebranded. Reputations can be reconstructed. The question is, are you ready to stop managing your image and start commanding respect? Because the next phase requires understanding how influence actually works. Influence isn't about being liked. It's about being needed. You're about to discover why dependency creates more loyalty than affection ever could. The mechanics of influence. Machiavelli revealed the uncomfortable truth about human relationships. People don't follow those they love. They follow those they need. Love makes you optional. Necessity makes you indispensable. Look at your current relationships through this lens. Who has real influence over your decisions? Not necessarily the people you enjoy most, but the people whose approval, resources, or cooperation you actually need. Your boss, regardless of how you feel about them personally. The person who controls access to opportunities you want. The individual whose skills complement your gaps. You've been trying to earn influence through affection, but influence flows from value exchange. People respond to those who provide something they cannot easily replace or obtain elsewhere. Your kindness is replaceable. Anyone can be nice. Your specific expertise, your network, your unique perspective, your proven results. These create dependency. Think about the most influential people in your life. They probably possess one or more of these elements. Exclusive access. They know people you need to know. Specialized knowledge. They understand things you need to understand. Or proven capability. They can do things you need done. They've made themselves necessary to your success or comfort. But what have you made yourself necessary for? Being agreeable? Anyone can agree. Avoiding conflict? Silence is free. Making others feel comfortable? That's emotional labor, without strategic value. Real influence comes from controlled scarcity. When you're always available, you have no leverage. When your skills are common, you have no bargaining power. When your approval comes without conditions, it becomes worthless. Machiavelli wrote, "Never was anything great achieved without danger." Your niceness has been your attempt to avoid all danger, all discomfort, all possibility of rejection. But in doing so, you've also avoided all possibility of real influence. The people who shape your world aren't the safest choices. They're the most valuable ones. They've positioned themselves as solutions to problems you have, as bridges to places you want to go, as keys to doors you want to open. You need to audit your value proposition. What problems do you solve that others cannot? What access do you provide that others lack? What capabilities do you possess that others need? If you can't answer these questions specifically, you don't have influence. You have wishful thinking. But creating necessity isn't about withholding kindness. It's about adding strategic value. It's about becoming someone whose absence would be felt, whose expertise would be missed, whose network would be difficult to replace. This requires a fundamental shift in how you think about relationships and power dynamics. Your boundaries teach people how to treat you. No boundaries, no respect. You're about to learn why setting limits creates more love than having none ever could. The power of strategic distance. Machiavelli understood that mystery maintains authority. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel. Your availability has made you too familiar, too predictable, too safely ignorable. Every time you immediately respond to messages, you signal that your time isn't valuable. Every time you rearrange your schedule for others without them doing the same for you, you establish a hierarchy where you're subordinate. Every time you over-explain your decisions, you invite others to debate your authority. Strategic distance isn't about being cold, it's about being selective. It's about treating your time, energy, and attention as the finite resources they are. When something is abundant, it becomes cheap. When it's scarce, it becomes precious. You've been giving away premium treatment at discount prices. You've been accessible to everyone, which has made you special to no one. You've been so afraid of seeming arrogant that you've become invisible. Consider the people who command your respect and attention. They probably don't respond to every communication immediately. They don't explain every decision exhaustively. They don't make themselves continuously available for others' convenience. This isn't because they don't care. It's because they understand value creation. When your attention is selective, it becomes meaningful. When your time is protected, it becomes valuable. When your approval is earned rather than given, it becomes significant. But this requires developing comfort with being misunderstood. Some people will interpret your boundaries as rudeness. Some will call your standards unreasonable. Some will prefer the version of you that was endlessly accommodating. Let them. You've been so concerned with everyone's comfort that you've neglected your own needs. You've been managing everyone's emotions except your own. You've been so busy being what others wanted that you've forgotten what you actually want. Strategic distance means saying no without extensive justification. It means being slow to respond instead of immediately available. It means setting conditions for your participation instead of accepting any terms offered. This feels uncomfortable at first because it goes against everything you've been conditioned to believe about relationships. But comfort isn't the goal. Respect is. And respect requires recognizing that your presence, like any valuable commodity, should have cost. The most powerful people you know aren't the most available. They're the most intentional. They choose carefully where to invest their energy because they understand that energy invested everywhere effectively goes nowhere. But understanding distance is just preparation for the real transformation. Strength isn't about never falling. It's about who gets back up and how quickly. You're about to discover why your past failures were actually preparation for your future power. The Transformation Blueprint. Machiavelli wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." Your transformation isn't about becoming someone different. It's about revealing who you actually are beneath years of conditioned accommodation. The strength you need already exists within you. Every time you've bitten your tongue when you wanted to speak up, you demonstrated self-control. Every time you've helped others despite getting nothing in return, you demonstrated capability. Every time you've stayed loyal despite being undervalued, you demonstrated character. The problem isn't that you lack strength. It's that you've been applying your strength in ways that diminish rather than amplify your power. You've been using your self-control to silence yourself instead of choosing your battles strategically. You've been using your capability to serve others' agendas instead of advancing your own. You've been using your character to enable others' weaknesses instead of inspiring their growth. Your transformation begins with redirecting existing strengths towards strategic outcomes. Instead of controlling your tongue to avoid conflict, control it to speak only when your words will have maximum impact. Instead of helping everyone, help selectively to create dependency and gratitude. Instead of being loyal to those who undervalue you, be loyal to those who recognize and reciprocate your worth. This isn't about becoming ruthless. It's about becoming intentional. It's about applying the same energy you've always had in directions that actually serve your interests and values. Start with small boundary tests. The next time someone makes a request that isn't urgent, don't respond immediately. Let them experience what it feels like when you're not instantly available. The next time someone tries to guilt you into something you don't want to do, simply say, "That doesn't work for me," without elaborate explanations. Watch how people respond to these small changes. Some will respect the boundaries immediately. These are people worth investing in. Others will push harder, trying to restore the old dynamic where you were endlessly accommodating. These are the relationships that have been draining your power. Your transformation will make some people uncomfortable, and that discomfort is information. People who benefited from your old patterns will resist your new boundaries. This resistance isn't evidence that you're wrong. It's evidence that you're changing power dynamics that previously favored them at your expense. But the most important part of your transformation isn't how others respond. It's how you start to see yourself differently. As you practice setting boundaries, you'll discover self-respect you forgot you had. As you become more selective with your time and energy, you'll accomplish things that matter to you, instead of just managing everyone else's priorities. The goal isn't to become feared by everyone. It's to be respected by those who matter and unbothered by those who don't. Power without purpose becomes corruption. Your purpose will determine your legacy. You're about to learn how to wield influence responsibly while still commanding respect. Responsible power. Machiavelli's greatest insight wasn't that power corrupts, it's that powerlessness also corrupts, just in different ways. Your years of accommodation haven't made you more virtuous. They've made you resentful, passive-aggressive, and secretly bitter toward those who seem to succeed more easily. True strength isn't about dominating others. It's about refusing to be dominated while helping others find their own strength. The most respected leaders aren't those who crush opposition, but those who create environments where others can rise without diminishing anyone else. Your transformation into someone who commands respect can either make you part of the problem or part of the solution. You can use your newfound understanding of power dynamics to help others recognize their own worth, or you can use it to keep others down while you climb up. The choice you make here will determine not just your success, but your character. Real power comes with responsibility. The responsibility to use influence in ways that create value, rather than just extracting it from others. This means being strong enough to protect not just yourself, but those who cannot yet protect themselves. It means using your voice not just to be heard, but to amplify voices that have been silenced. It means leveraging your position not just for personal gain, but for outcomes that benefit everyone involved. The people you'll truly admire and want to emulate aren't those who gained power through manipulation and selfishness. They're those who gained power through value creation and used it to lift others. They command respect, not through fear alone, but through the recognition that their strength makes everyone around them stronger. As you implement these changes, remember that your goal isn't to become someone who takes advantage of others the way others have taken advantage of you. Your goal is to become someone who is strong enough to engage authentically, boundaries intact, with your full self, present and accountable. The world needs people who understand power dynamics and choose to use that understanding ethically. It needs people who can stand firm in their values without being pushovers, who can negotiate from strength without being bullies, who can command respect without losing compassion. Your transformation is ultimately about becoming someone you can respect, someone who no longer apologizes for taking up space, who no longer sacrifices their needs for others' convenience, who no longer confuses being agreeable with being valuable. This journey from accommodation to authenticity, from niceness to necessity, from invisibility to influence. This is how you reclaim your power and use it to create the life you actually want. The final choice. The world will always respect strength over kindness, but you get to define what strength looks like. You get to choose whether your strength serves only yourself or serves something greater. You get to decide whether your power creates more power for others or just hoards it for yourself. Your journey from being overlooked to being indispensable starts with a single decision. Will you continue training the world to ignore you, or will you start teaching it to respect you? The choice is yours. The time is now. Your power is waiting. If this video opened your eyes to truths you've been avoiding, subscribe for more insights that will transform how you see yourself and your potential. Share this with someone who needs to stop apologizing for existing and start commanding the respect they deserve. Your strength has been there all along. It's time to use it.